Welcome. I'm Mike Lamborn. Welcome to Lamborn Family Vineyards. We've been farming this land for over 30 years. And today we're cutting into the 21st century and doing a cyber tasting of our 2005 Cabernet Sauvignon. Before we get into the details of our tasting today, let me show you where these grapes are grown. Growing grapes excites me. Growing grapes on Howell Mountain excites me even more. This area is very, very special in many ways, but just a few of them include our temperatures. Our daytime temperatures are 10 degrees cooler than that of the Napa Valley. Our nighttime temperatures, interestingly enough, are 12 to 15 degrees warmer. Our split trellising system, which provides the grapevines almost 100% more sunlight than conventional trellises, gives the ripening process a real head start. Our soils don't hold any water because of our mountain atmosphere, that they drain off, so the ground is always dry, and these vines only get the water that we decide to provide them. There's a lot of things that are good about Howell Mountain. It's an extremely unique growing area. We've completed shipment of this wine. Perhaps you have a glass in front of you at this moment. This is a big mountain Cabernet, which the renowned Heidi Barrett has skillfully crafted into a wine that will be greatly enhanced by long-term cellaring. Today, we're going to taste this wine from a freshly opened bottle and contrast it to the same wine which has been decanted for 24 hours. This comparison is going to show you the benefits of long-term cellaring and or decanting. Let's go try some. Heidi, what do you say we taste this wine?
Let's do.
Great. We're going to first pour the wine from the recently opened bottle, as I had mentioned earlier.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So this is our 2005 Cab. Smelling really wonderful. It's been in the bottle just a year. We bottled this last summer, and I last tasted this about 6 weeks ago, and I was impressed with the development of the aromas and the flavors after that extra year in the bottle that we give the wine. It really is an important part of the overall aging of the wine.
This wine, though, you'd probably describe as still being pretty tight.
It is. It's on the young side for sure. I think it's tasting really delicious, but it's only going to get better from here. I always get a lot of really beautiful sort of ripe black cherry and plummy character and sort of a wild, almost brambleberry kind of a character from this hillside vineyard that you have up here.
It's the mountain characteristic?
It is.
Yeah.
It's kind of classic Howell Mountain kind of character.
Yeah.
Almost a little inkiness too, and when you look at the color, how black it is, that's pretty typical of what we get from your vineyard.
Yeah, yeah.
Little touches of oak too. I just get very light layering of sort of a toasty, sweet oak kind of character. Not overdone at all. It's really the predominant character is about the fruit, and it's pretty special. What's the altitude you have up here in the vineyard?
We're 2,200.
2,200. Yeah, we're well off the valley floor, so you get some really distinct characters from that. It's not valley floor fruit at all. Not typical Napa Valley wine.
Well, it's certainly nice that the valley and the mountains can be different.
It's really not showing as tight as you would think for a young wine. It's really pretty open and pretty luxurious feeling, very silky, very rich. I get a lot of ripe fruit character here. Not too tannic at all, very light tannin, if any. You almost have to look for that, but it is a fairly big, brawny wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I like how it sort of flows across the palate. You really want that to be a really complete wine. It just it's kind of silky from beginning to end, good length. I always look for wines where you can taste it several minutes, later, and even after I've already swallowed my first sip here, I can still taste this now, which is always a good sign. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I like that.
So shall we compare it to?
I think it would be fun. This is actually the part of the tasting that I've been looking forward to.
Okay. So what we've got here is a bottle that was decanted 24 hours ago into this container, and we've left it to see what will happen with a little bit of oxygen overnight. And now we're coming back to check that. And what this does basically is gives some indication of how a wine can age. We've all kind of experienced that where you have a bottle open and you have a few sips, or you maybe have a glass with dinner or two. You didn't finish the bottle, so you leave it on the counter till the next day, and you are still working on the same bottle, have another glass, maybe even into the third night. And you'll notice that we've all done this. The wine kind of changes over time. And so it gives some indication of aging. I don't know how to exactly to quantify it, but it gives you an idea of what's to come. It could be what it'll be like in a couple years out. Some wines it'll be more like what it's going to be like in 5 years. Or it could even, give you a glimpse of even more like 10 or 20 years, just give you an idea of where that wine's going. So kind of a fun little experiment to do. So you never feel bad if you didn't finish the bottle. It's fine to kind of play with that yourselves with all different wines and see how they kind of get an idea of how they will age and change.
Well, one of the things that interests me is because this is only our third vintage. We don't have a decade or a decade plus to look at our earlier wines to compare, and so we're sort of trying to extrapolate what that would be like from a younger wine.
I'm happy tasting this. Boy, the aromas are even more open.
Yeah.
Flavor is more broad, more lush, more luxurious. Even just it's sort of the same wine with the volume turned up across the board. Everything's just really come together even more, don't you think?
It seems a lot smoother.
Yeah, a little more silky.
It does. It seems much.
But even more flavor.
And when I can taste that, we're talking about something significant.
You're good. You're a good taster. You are. Yeah, very nice. Very happy with that.
Yeah, 24 hours, I think, from what little I know, has made a very significant difference. And you think that this wine has the ability to lay down properly cellared for?
I do. I think this is like at least 10, probably closer to a 20-year wine. And the reason I think that is because it's got lots of fruit to start with. It's got a good backbone. It's got good acidity. A lot of stuffing going on there. It's a really big wine, but it's quite elegant. It's imbalanced. But the structure and the amount of fruit leads me to believe that this is one that's going to carry on for a long time. And really, you want that fruit component to be sort of front-loaded. You want a lot of that to start with, because over time, that's really what's going to fade. And if the wine is quite tannic up front, that doesn't fade as fast. It does go down a little bit, but with wines that don't have very much fruit and a lot of tannin, the tannin will way outlive the fruit, and so those wines aren't very fun to taste down the line. But something like this, where you've got a lot of fruit, not that much tannin, the fruit's going to keep going, eventually will start to fade way into the future, but the tannin is so silky, I think this is a really very promising wine that could age well in the cellar.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Good.
It is.
Well, I have to take my vitamins and take care of myself so I can benefit from that.
You could. Another thing about this type of wine is really the wine is made that you've got your choice here of when you want to enjoy it. You can either taste it upon release, and that's why we sort of self-age it for a year before we even send it out to the market. And it's delicious. As the first glass we just poured, it's very tasty, but it will get better. So you've got your choice here. If you can buy several bottles, I always encourage people to open one maybe right away if you've bought 6 or something like that, and then maybe give one another year and taste one every year over a 6 or 8 year period, and that's a lot of fun. And that way you enjoy all the stages and you don't miss anything. So I would recommend that.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, this has been fun.
It has.
And thank you very much for participating.
Yeah.
We're grateful to have you watching as well. Hopefully you found this informative and interesting, at the very least amusing.
We did.
We appreciate your participation. Wish you well. And from Heidi Barrett and myself and the rest of the Lamborn clans, cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.